From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Nicole Griffin.
Nicole, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez, and these are your headlines on this December the 10th.
When you talk about counties being red, the state of Indiana is on fire. So just to put this all in context.
Governor Holcomb giving an update on the coronavirus pandemic here in the Hoosier State. The new restrictions he's laying out to help curb the number of cases as well as hospitalizations.
Plus, we could learn today if Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine will receive emergency use authorization from the FDA. This morning, a look at what's next if it is approved.
And local animal shelters feeling the impact of the pandemic, and they need your help this morning. How they're adjusting and their call to action. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Thursday. It is great for you to start your morning with us. It is great for me to join my good friends, Nicole and Kyle. Good morning, guys. Great to see you here in the WRTV living room.
Rafael, good morning. As always, great to be here. We are one day away from Friday, so it's a great day. But hey, if you're heading out the door this morning, be prepared because it is pretty chilly out there, Kyle. You need the heat this morning.
It is, and I see I missed the blue memo for dressing today, but the map is blue.
We look good.
Oh, you do?
So hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
We're going to prom today.
Oh.
We didn't tell you that, but yeah, we're going to prom.
Social distance prom.
I'll find another time. But yeah, the map is nice and blue here. You may not like that this morning, but things are going to be warming up. We've got temperatures in the upper 20s in Greencastle and Greenfield at 29 this morning. I'd say this 39 in Martinsville a little suspect right now. We may need to thaw out the thermometer there a little bit. You've got temperatures more likely closer to that 33 that we've got in Indianapolis. As far as the visibility out there, we do have some lower visibility because of some fog in Lafayette now. It's under a half mile. So I think this is really going to be an issue across northern communities. Just kind of factor that in for your drive this morning. Temperatures today, we're going to make our way well through the 50s to about 58 for our high in Indianapolis. Not too far away from that record of 66. We've got more warmth coming our way. We'll talk about that. Also, the first chance of rain for the month this weekend, and those temperatures going to tumble in that 7-day forecast, Nicole.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Let's take a live look out at the roads on this Thursday morning. Here's a look at I-465 at Madison Avenue, where you can see traffic is starting to pick up a bit here in this area. No delays or crashes at this hour, but we will keep you updated all morning long.
Our nurses and our doctors, understandably, assistants, are overwhelmed and beyond exhausted. So we have got to, our plan and our path forward has got to react to that reality.
Governor Eric Holcomb taking action as COVID-19 related hospitalizations continue to rise in our state. He's putting control back in the state's hands after shifting to local driven controls back in November, Nicole.
Yeah, and this morning, Indiana has the second highest rate of COVID-19 infections in the entire country. All 92 counties are at the red or orange level, and more than 3,200 Hoosiers are hospitalized with COVID or a suspected case of COVID. Just over 20% of ICU beds are available and 69% of ventilators are available. That's why the governor is enforcing new restrictions. Beginning next week, all hospitals will be required to postpone or reschedule non-emergency and elective procedures until January 3rd. Social gatherings are limited based on county metrics and the amount of COVID-19 cases in that area. No more than 25 people are allowed to gather in red counties. For orange counties, the limit is 50 people. Local health departments are no longer allowed to grant any exceptions to those gathering restrictions. And K through 12 extracurricular activities can continue but must be limited to participants, parents, and support personnel for all counties in red, and other counties must limit capacity to 25%.
Nicole, new this morning, the FDA has granted an emergency use authorization for the first non-prescription over-the-counter COVID-19 test kit for at-home use. Anyone over 18 years old can buy the kit and collect nasal swab samples at their home. Positive or invalid results are delivered by phone or through a healthcare provider. Now, users will be notified by mail or through an online portal if results are negative. The new kit is available now through Pixel by LabCorp's website and may soon be available in stores.
In just hours, the Federal Drug Administration will meet to determine whether Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine will receive emergency use authorization. If approved, Indiana could see doses arriving within days. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with how local hospitals are preparing. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nicole. So the FDA, they will debate two things today. They will debate whether the vaccine is effective and whether the potential benefits outweigh any risks. Officials say the vaccine could be authorized for use just 24 hours after that meeting if it's approved. In its first analysis, the FDA says the Pfizer vaccine does appear effective regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender, adding there were no specific safety concerns identified that could prevent emergency authorization. Local hospitals here in Indiana are already preparing to store the vaccine. IU Health has added sub-zero freezers that can hold plenty of vaccines, more than we'll probably even get here in Indiana. I spoke with Dr. Jennifer Hartwell, and she urges all Hoosiers to get the vaccine once it's available.
Really strongly consider getting the COVID vaccine when it becomes available to you. There's a lot of research that proves that it is going to be safe for us, and I feel confident in getting the vaccine myself. And that is probably, in addition to the masking and distancing, the next best thing that we can do to, get us beyond COVID.
In yesterday's press conference, Governor Holcomb saying it's a modern medical miracle that we have a vaccine this quickly. We learned Indiana will get more than 55,000 vaccines in the first week and then more each week following. The state's chief medical officer, Lindsay Weaver, says the vaccine does not use the live virus, so you cannot get COVID from the vaccine. She also says children under 16 will not be able to get the vaccine because studies have not yet been done on that age group. So again, if the Pfizer vaccine is authorized today, we could see the vaccine being used here in Indiana as early as next week. And again, the first to be vaccinated are going to be those healthcare workers and then those folks living in those long-term care facilities who are at the highest risk for COVID-19. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much. So when a vaccine is ready in Indiana, the big question is, who will get it first? Here's a look at the plan from the State Department of Health as we know it this morning. Healthcare workers and those who work at greater risk of death from the virus are prioritized for phase 1 distribution. Now, among the general population, long-term care residents would be prioritized, as well as people with underlying medical conditions. Those who are 65 and older, people at risk for severe COVID-19 illness, those at risk of acquiring or transmitting the virus, and people with limited access to vaccination services. The state expects most of the general population to get vaccinated this spring and summer. You can read the entire draft of Indiana's vaccine plan on our website, WRTV.com.
Well, as we get closer to having a coronavirus vaccine, there are still concerns over how to make sure the community buys into it. Concerns, skepticism, or questions may depend on your background. For many minorities, especially African Americans, vaccines and medical research are tied to a dark history. The Tuskegee syphilis study in Alabama notoriously withheld treatment from its black male participants. The experiment run by the U.S. government lasted 40 years despite originally being scheduled for 6 months. It's estimated that 100 subjects died. During the same time frame in 1951, Henrietta Lack's cancer cells were taken without her knowledge when she sought treatment at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Her cells are a crucial research tool to this day, but neither Lack's nor her family were ever compensated for her contribution. Dr. Clyde Postley Jr. is an Indianapolis pastor. He says for these reasons and more, it's important to have African American stakeholders at the forefront of these conversations.
There's a consensus that we would like to see some specific trials relative to Black people, headed by Black people, and influenced by Black stakeholders in the African American community.
In the U.S., 10% of Pfizer vaccine trial participants were Black and 13% were Hispanic. For Moderna, 20% of participants were Hispanic and 10% were Black.
And Nicole, as we learn more about COVID-19 vaccines, their effectiveness and their distribution, we'll bring you the very latest updates from local and national health officials and medical professionals. You can find everything at WRTV.com in our vaccine Q&A section, and reach out to us if you're looking for any other answers.
Well, local animal shelters and care organizations are feeling the impacts of the pandemic, and they need your help. Leaders at Indianapolis Animal Care Services say they're getting close to capacity. They tell us this is typically a busy time of the year for adoptions as people look to add a pet to their family around the holidays. But this year is much slower. In order to keep everyone safe, they've split their staff in half and have them work opposite days. That also means fewer people are in the building at once, so they are not able to care for as many animals as they usually would.
Finding that good balance between how we can continue operating and getting adopters, as we don't want to, expose the public or expose our staff to any potential diseases. It's been tough finding that balance, and it's always a work in progress.
IACS is offering free adoptions right now. They also have a Cuddle Before You Commit program, which lets you take a pet home for 2 weeks to see if they are a good fit before adopting. We have more information about that on our website, WRTV.com. And Kyle, if you're taking the dog out for a walk this morning, make sure to grab that heavy jacket. It's pretty chilly out there.
Yeah, you're going to need to layer up, but this afternoon should be beautiful. I think I'll be taking our dogs for a little bit of a walk as I get home this afternoon. We got 33 degrees right now. Temperature feels like 29, though. The winds is fairly light. It's southeast at just 5 miles per hour. Today, we'll get those numbers into the upper 50s as we'll have partly cloudy skies, so a few more clouds than what we had yesterday, but still a fairly bright day for us. Now, that changes on Friday. We'll have the clouds. Don't think you're really going to need the umbrella. We may have some late day showers. Rain is likely on Saturday, and then it'll all be out of here by Sunday, leaving behind about a half to an inch of rainfall. But we'll time out that weekend rain for you in just a few minutes. Raphael?
Kyle, thank you so much. A proposal to paint a Back the Blue mural not moving forward. Coming up, details on the change as Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. The time now is 5:15. An update this morning on a proposal calling for a Back the Blue mural to be painted on an Indianapolis street. Proposal 355 called on the Department of Public Works to paint the pro-police message on Shelby Street between Cottage Avenue and Olive Street. But last night, the proposal sponsors withdrew their sponsorship. The City County Council says no further action on the proposal will be taken unless new sponsors come forward.
Nicole, Indiana is joining a lawsuit against Facebook. The suit claims that the social media giant is abusing its power to really crush the smaller competitors. Curtis Hill and more than 40 other states' attorneys general want to require Facebook to give notification of future acquisitions valued at $10 million or more. In another lawsuit filed by the Federal Trade Commission, lawyers want to break up the company by forcing it to sell Instagram and WhatsApp. Facebook responded to the lawsuits in a tweet saying the FTC already approved all of its acquisitions, but now wants a do-over.
In Washington now, President Trump is making moves to change the nation's environmental regulations before he leaves office. Wednesday, the White House finalized a rule that could prevent the Environmental Protection Agency from passing stronger measures to fight air pollution and climate change. The rule would require a cost and benefit analysis of any future change under the Clean Air Act. It would also prevent scientists from presenting secondary benefits of any proposed policy change. EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler says the rule will ensure consistency when analyzing costs and benefits of new policies. But a leader at the Union of Concerned Scientists, a nonprofit advocacy group, says the change aims to rig future policies in favor of polluters. Also in Washington, Congress is still trying to come to a deal on a coronavirus relief package.
And Nicole, this is really a big deal because lawmakers want to get a bill passed soon because aid programs that were approved back in March, including unemployment assistance and eviction protections, expire at the end of this month. A bipartisan group of lawmakers has proposed a deal that includes $300 million more a week for 16 weeks to unemployed Americans, $300 billion in aid for small businesses, and a continued pause on federal student loan payments through the end of April. But that plan does not include stimulus checks. Wednesday, the House passed a short-term funding bill that moves the deadline on a government shutdown now to December the 18th. And that measure is now headed to the Senate, where it is expected to pass.
Airlines aren't messing around when it comes to passengers who refuse to wear a mask. Delta says it has put nearly 700 people on its no-fly list for refusing to comply with the company's mask policy. The new figure is an increase from last month. Delta started mandating masks on flights in early May. All major carriers now require passengers to wear masks, saying it is important to protect the health and safety of both passengers and crew members. Earlier this week, President-elect Joe Biden reiterated his call for a federal mask mandate during his first 100 days in office. The mandate would include planes, trains, and buses. And Kyle, if you're heading out to the airport this morning, what should people expect?
Well, the weather shouldn't really slow you down out there, but we do have some chilly temperatures to get the day going here. You're at 27 right now in Kokomo, 33 in Indy, and we've got 30 in Bloomington. And those winds are fairly light, but it does add a bit of a chill to the air. Now, Nicole earlier was talking about it felt a little bit colder out there this morning, and it does. We've got numbers that are running about 5 to 10 degrees colder than this time yesterday. Good news is we're going to jump that pretty quickly here and get things running with temperatures into the 40s by 10 a.m. We're close to 50 for your lunch hour today. Still a good deal of sunshine, although we'll mix in a few more clouds out there as well. Temperatures making their way into the middle 50s, even some areas that'll get around 60 this afternoon, like Bloomington and Columbus. 58 in Indy, 59 in Lafayette, and 57 in Muncie. Some pretty rare air here for the month of December. Tonight, not going to be as chilly as those clouds will continue to increase, but we'll keep it dry. Many areas right around 40 degrees as we go into your Friday morning. And Friday will feature more in the way of some gray skies and cloud cover here. Our temperature 47 degrees there at 10 a.m. We'll still get into the 50s for that afternoon high, but then rain chances will start to build in here. This is a look at TrueCast, 4:30 on your Friday afternoon, and you see a few light rain showers are possible here around Monticello, Lafayette, into Veedersburg. I think that will increase in coverage as we go, especially into the overnight hours, and there you can see some fairly widespread rain going to 5 a.m. on your Saturday. This will start to become a little more showery then as we head into our Saturday afternoon, but still overall Saturday is going to be a fairly soggy day for us. It's also going to be a little breezy, but it's still a mild breeze there that will take our temperatures into the 50s one more day. 55 there on Saturday, expecting about a half inch to possibly an inch of rain in a couple of communities. And then as we get into Sunday, back to reality and where we should be here for this time of year. 38 will be the high with mostly cloudy skies around the area. So temperatures as we look at that 7-day planning forecast, can't beat it here for the next 3 days. We've got highs in the 50s for you. We will start off Saturday at 47, 34 by Sunday morning, and that's going to be where our highs are a little bit closer to as we get through Sunday and into next week, with highs not likely to get past 35 by Wednesday. Raphael.
Kyle, thank you so much. Starbucks has named a new chair of its board of directors. That's Melody Hobson. She will be the first black woman in that role, we're told. This announcement comes, as, of course, as Starbucks has received some criticism for the lack of diversity at its top diversity of its corporate boards. Only 16.8% of large-cap company boards have racially or ethnically diverse directors. Now, Hobson is a co-CEO of an asset management firm, Ariel Investments. She has been a Starbucks director since 2005 and is replacing Myron Ullman III, who served as chairman of the board since 2018.
DoorDash is making its big debut on Wall Street. The food delivery giant began trading Wednesday on the New York Stock Exchange. Its stock was initially listed at $102 per share. That pricing was far above the original proposed price range of between $75 to $85 a share, a sign of strong investor demand. DoorDash was launched 7 years ago by a group of Stanford University students to help local businesses offer delivery. And like many other delivery companies, they have benefited greatly amid the pandemic due to skyrocketing demand for their services. As we get closer to a COVID vaccine, many want to know if your employer can require you to get it. Next at 5:30, we're talking to legal experts about whether or not you can opt out. It's 5:22. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV. Fans of Bob Barker can now see him on TV again. The Barker era, The Price is Right, is getting its own channel. Episodes from the 1980s will run on Pluto TV's Fremantle channel 24/7. Along with fan favorites, you can watch clips not seen since they originally aired nearly 40 years ago. Barker hosted The Price is Right for more than 3 decades, from 1972 to 2007. He received the Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1999. And Kyle, wonder what he's up to. We just looked it up. His birthday's in 2 days, and he's 96.
Yeah, he's got a big birthday celebration coming up.
I love Bob Barker. I always watched The Price is Right with him.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
I'm looking forward to that because you can't see it streaming anywhere else. All right, as we check out our forecast going forward, it's been a dry stretch here. We are now more than a week into the month of December, not a drop of rain yet. So that deficit is around an inch for us. But as we go into Saturday, looking at some steady rain coming our way. There's a look at those rain chances as we head late into the day on Friday and then Saturday morning. We will have rain chances there about 80%. I think it tapers off a little bit as we go into our Saturday afternoon. It is 5:27 with a dry Thursday morning across central Indiana. We've got a lot more on your forecast and, of course, your latest news headlines. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on WRTV.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
This is the light at the end of the tunnel.
The U.S. could be now hours away from approving a COVID-19 vaccine. We're live at 5:30 with the big announcement expected from the FDA and how Indiana hospitals are preparing this morning.
And when a vaccine is approved, can your employer require you to get it? Working for you, we're talking to legal experts about whether or not you can opt out. It is 5:30 here on your Thursday morning. We want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin in for Lauren Casey this morning.
Nicole, good morning to you. Welcome to the WRTV living room, your official living room. You know how great it was yesterday to see first the sun and then in the afternoon around 50 degrees, Kyle Mounds. Loved it. I'm hoping, I know it's chilly right now, but who's up at 5:31 in the morning? But by 2 o'clock this afternoon, right? Hopefully we'll be outside.
Right, everybody's inside right now this morning. But Raphael, we got to check on that to-do list. So yesterday, did you make it out to the Monon and get those lights up?
Well, I did get the lights on, but you know, I live a little bit south, and I'm not physically fit to get all the way to the Monon, so I did make it on the Franklin Greenway.
Okay. Oh.
But maybe as I lose some weight in 2021, I'll be able to bike from Franklin all the way up to the
far
Monon.
ride.
I got to work on that.
Early New Year's resolution. There you go. Well, you did better than me yesterday. I got out for a little bit of a walk. But all right, this morning, as you're heading out there, yes, you are going to need that coat. We got temperatures in the 20s for you this morning in Lafayette at 29, 30 in Bloomington and Muncie, 33 degrees downtown. Feels like the upper 20s, though, just a light breeze out there. And there are the clear skies. Those clouds, they eroded away pretty quickly yesterday morning. I think we'll see a few more that will filter in here as we go through the day, but still a pretty bright day for us. We do have some limited visibility for some fog. Half-mile visibility for you right now in the Lafayette area, only about 4 miles in Muncie. So it shouldn't be terribly thick and widespread for most of us, but just kind of keep that in mind as you head out there. We've got a mix of sun and clouds today, and temperatures mild once again as we make it into the upper 50s. Nicole, how are the roads this morning?
The roads are very quiet this morning. Not a whole lot going on out on roads across central Indiana. This is a live look at I-65 at 30th Street this morning, where you can see right now traffic moving up to speed at this hour. No crashes or delays so far to start your Thursday morning. Raphael.
Nicole, thank you so much. Today, Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine could receive that very critical emergency use authorization from the FDA. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with what that all means this morning for local hospitals and how they're preparing today. Good morning to you, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So we could have a vaccine here in Indiana as soon as early next week. So today, the FDA will publicly debate 2 questions on the Pfizer vaccine. Its effectiveness, and then the second question, does the effectiveness outweigh any potential risk? So officials say the vaccine could be authorized for use just 24 hours after this debate. In its first analysis, the FDA says the Pfizer vaccine does appear effective regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender. freezer, adding there were no specific safety concerns identified that could prevent emergency authorization. The local hospitals here in Indiana are already preparing to store the vaccine. IU Health has added sub-zero freezers. I spoke with Dr. Chris Weaver, the Senior Vice President of Clinical Effectiveness, and he says they are prepared to store, distribute, and administer the vaccine.
But we were lucky that we already had, because of our size and some of the advanced therapies we give, already had several ultra cold freezers around our system. We distributed those to each of these places, as well as purchased several more, so that we are confident we have more than enough storage for any amount of vaccine that we can get our hands on. So we're ready for it.
In yesterday's press conference, the state's chief medical officer, Lindsay Weaver, says the vaccine does not use the live virus, so you cannot get COVID from the vaccine. She also says children under 16 will not be able to get the vaccine because studies have not yet been done on that age group. Governor Holcomb saying it's a modern medical miracle that we have a vaccine this quickly. We learned Indiana will get more than 55,000 vaccines in the first week and then more each week following. So if the Pfizer vaccine does get that emergency authorization from the FDA today, again, we could see that vaccine here in Indiana starting as early as next week. And they tell me as soon as it's here, they will be ready to go and ready to administer it. And then, of course, we've told you before, but those healthcare workers and then those folks living in those long-term care facilities who are at higher risk of COVID-19, they will be the first in line to get this COVID-19 vaccine if it's approved today by the FDA. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. So how does the vaccine actually work? Indiana's chief medical officer explained the science during this week's pandemic briefing.
Many vaccines put a weakened or inactivated germ into our bodies, but these vaccines that we will be receiving first are mRNA vaccines, and they take a different approach. They teach our cells how to make a harmless protein called the spike protein that is found on the surface of the virus that causes COVID-19. This protein then triggers an immune response inside our bodies. That immune response produces antibodies to protect us from getting infected if the real virus enters our bodies. These vaccines cannot give someone COVID-19. They do not use live virus. They also don't interact or affect our DNA in any way. While this will be the first mRNA vaccine approved for use, researchers have been studying this and working on these vaccines for decades.
Well, even if the Pfizer vaccine is approved, Raphael, it will not be available to children.
Yeah, in Indiana, it will be only given to people 16 years and older. You see, health officials say additional tests still need to be done and approved for kids because their immune systems are different from adults. For parents concerned about side effects, Dr. John Christensen with Riley Hospital for Children says the most common effects will be pain where the shot is given, muscle aches, fatigue, and sometimes fever. But he says these are normal reactions to vaccines.
They have nothing to do with getting COVID from the vaccine. What they are is your own immune response responding to this substance that you're injecting into the arm.
Dr. Christensen says a widespread vaccination for children will not be likely to happen until this summer.
And as Kelsey mentioned earlier, healthcare staffers will be the first to get the vaccine if they choose to do so. But can workplaces require employees to get vaccinated? Working for you, we took that question to a local attorney. Aaron Williamson tells WRTV the industry standard is for employers to educate workers about vaccines. But here in the Hoosier State, companies can take it a step further.
Indiana being an at-will state, private employer, they can mandate it, but they do so with a couple of restraints and potential exposure for lawsuits.
Employees can sue and opt out of receiving the vaccine for several reasons, including medical concerns and religion. The CDC estimates that when companies have a mandatory vaccination policy, 85% of employees participate. Without one, participation tends to fall to 43%. As we learn more about COVID-19 vaccines, their effectiveness and their distribution, we'll keep bringing you the very latest updates from local and national health officials. You can find all of this information at WRTV.com in our vaccine Q&A section, and reach out to us here at WRTV if you are looking for an answer. Raphael.
So our state's case numbers when it comes to COVID-19, they continue to simply rise by the thousands. Here's a look at the latest numbers as we have them. The State Department of Health reporting 5,853 new cases of the virus on Wednesday, bringing the total case number to more than 398,000. 98 more Hoosiers have died with the virus. Indiana's death toll now reaching 6,207. Now, with those metrics, the State Department of Health is reporting more counties at the highest risk level. 36 are now in red, which is a jump from 16 just last week. It means that social gatherings are limited to 25 people in those areas. The other 56 counties are in orange, are limited to no more than 50 people. We have more on the latest restrictions from Governor Holcomb coming up in the next half hour of Good Morning Indiana.
A ray of light amid the darkness of the pandemic. On Wednesday, IU Health Methodist Hospital hosted a Tree of Hope lighting ceremony. The event honored patients who have suffered from COVID-19, as well as the doctors, nurses, and other staffers caring for those patients. Each ornament on the tree represents a person who battled COVID-19 on IU Health's inpatient units and survived. One exception is Sandra Vaughn. She died from the virus in June. An ornament in her honor is on the tree now from her daughter.
I think it's nice to have something that takes our mind off of the tragedy and instead focuses on the hope that we are going to get through this. And that's what this tree represents. It represents hope, and it's beautiful, right? And the lights are lovely, and that's a nice distraction, and it helps remind us of things other than tragedy.
The ornaments were donated by team members who helped COVID patients through their battle. And Kyle, if you haven't got outside to decorate your house, it looks like we have a couple nice days ahead.
Yeah, you can get out there, decorate, and also get out there and enjoy some of the light displays. I was able to take the dogs for a walk the other evening and kind of see some of the lights. Very pretty out there. We've got our temperature 33 degrees right now. Feels like 29 though, with a light southeast wind at just 5 miles per hour. As you head out the door this morning, temperatures right around that freezing mark, but we will see quite a bit of sunshine and then mix in a few clouds as we go through the day, but not bad as you're heading home there. 53, especially with a little bit of that sunshine. May not need the jacket all that much. High temperatures today, mid to upper 50s, even 60 for you in Bloomington and 56 in Fishers. Raphael?
Kyle, thank you so much. Central Indiana seeing an increase in domestic violence cases. Coming up this morning, why the experts say the pandemic is playing a role.
And a SpaceX rocket, which will one day send Americans to Mars, explodes while landing. After the break, why Elon Musk says the test run was still a success. It's 5:41. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
Good morning to Zionsville, Anderson, and Muncie. During this pandemic, there's a greater need for education on the topic of domestic violence and shelter for victims right here in Central Indiana. A domestic violence network study shows that more than 28,000 calls to agencies from domestic violence victims. Those are the latest numbers. The study looked at data from Marion and 5 other counties in 2018 and 2019. The increased call volume led to more than 2,000 individuals being denied service. Now, we talked with Kelly McBride about these concerning numbers for our communities to learn more about how the pandemic is making an impact on the cases in 2020.
We're still gathering data from 2020, but we do have some preliminary data that shows that there's been an increase of domestic violence calls to IMPD, and that increase is at 125% on average. Some zip codes are seeing a 200% increase in calls to IMPD, so that's very large.
The Domestic Violence Network is recommending these changes increase funding for service providers, address the disproportionate rate of these incidents on communities of color, increase enforcement of laws as they relate to domestic violence, increase education on this topic in schools with a stronger focus on teen dating violence. And if you live or if someone you know is in a situation where you need help, please call 211 or visit dvnconnect.org and click on the button that says you need immediate help. Several phone lines will also pop up on your screen, and always call 911 in the event of an emergency.
More Americans are getting the flu shot this year, but there's one demographic shying away from the vaccination. CDC data shows flu vaccination rates for Black children are down. In November 2019, 44% had been vaccinated. At the same time this year, that number was only 33%. The rate for white and Hispanic children did not change much. A doctor with the CDC says he's not sure why numbers are down for Black children, but it does highlight the need for health officials to work with communities of color. Raphael.
A government shutdown has been avoided for now. The House passed a bill on Wednesday, buying them one more week. Funding was set to expire on Friday, but the short-term bill keeps the government funded all the way at least through December the 18th. Lawmakers are still trying to negotiate next year's massive government spending bill. Both sides hope the additional time will allow them to reach an agreement on coronavirus relief. If no deal is reached by next Friday, it will have to wait until Congress reconvenes after the holidays.
And the search continues this morning for a missing National Guard pilot after a F-16 fighter jet crashed. The pilot was said to be on a routine training mission when the jet went down Tuesday night. Right now, rescue teams are focusing their search in the Hiawatha National Forest in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. They are searching by air, ground, and water. The cause of the crash still remains under investigation.
A wild scene in Texas as a SpaceX flight test ended in a fiery crash landing. After 2 scrubbed attempts, SpaceX successfully launched the unmanned experimental rocket. Named Starship, the rocket flew 8 miles into the sky before turning and gliding back towards Earth. However, right as it touched down, it blew up, as you can see, in a massive explosion. While some may call this catastrophic, SpaceX founder Elon Musk says the test, he says, was an overall success. SpaceX will continue to test these Starship prototypes, which will one day take humans to Mars. And Kyle, I think I mentioned this last week when you were with us. I'll go on that trip. I think how fantastic it would be to be among the very first to visit Mars. So my wife says no, but I say, come on, I'm ready packed.
You're packed and ready to go, and this is why they do the testing, right? We got to get those bugs out of the way first. All right, well, we got temperatures this morning starting off around 30 for you in Lafayette and Muncie. It's 33 in Indy. This morning you're in the 20s in Greenwood, New Pal at 26 and 27 Greenfield into the Fishers area. Good morning to you in Hamilton County. Our temperatures today, well, they might be starting chilly. They're going to warm up pretty nicely here. As we get to mid-morning, we're already at 40 degrees. That's our average high for this time of year. We will continue to climb from there, getting into the middle and upper 50s in a couple of areas, touching 60 degrees this afternoon. Frankfort, 58 for your high today. You'll make it to 55 in Logansport and 57 in Anderson. Temperatures upper 50s to around 60 here along I-70. 60 for you in Martinsville, Connorsville at 56, and we'll be right around 60 degrees from Spencer into Columbus, Seymour, and even Bloomington today. So we're talking about temperatures that are 10 to 20 degrees above average for this time of year. Now, yesterday we enjoyed total sunshine. Today we'll see a few of those high thin clouds that will be moving in overhead. So filters the sunshine a little bit. Still should be a pretty bright day for us here and very nice with those mild temperatures. So we will enjoy that as we go through the evening. Tomorrow those clouds will get a little bit thicker for us, turn to mostly cloudy skies. But we're still going to warm up. Temperatures that will be at 40 degrees already at 8 a.m. will get to the middle 50s at noon and 56 for that afternoon high. So the cloud's not going to limit our warming all that much. But then as we get later into the day on Friday, 10 o'clock in the evening, you start to see the leading edge of some rain and showers moving in. It becomes fairly widespread as we go early into our Saturday morning, then a little more showery in nature here, a little more scattered as we head into our Saturday afternoon, and then it should move through pretty quickly. Right now, models coming in about a ½ inch to maybe about 3/4 of an inch of rain. Some isolated spots, maybe an inch of rain here for the weekend. But Saturday, while it looks a little soggy, will be mild, breezy as well at 55, and then we'll drop down to 38 for that high on Sunday. So it will turn much colder for us, and it will be cloudy there as well. Checking out that 7-day planning forecast. Looking no complaints here as we go through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I guess we could complain a little bit about the rain, but we've got 55 in December, so that kind of cancels it out a little bit. 38, colder but dry on Sunday, and it will stay on the colder side here as we go into the middle of next week with highs in the 30s. Raphael, I hear you got a whale of a tale for us.
Hey, good. Hey, at 58 degrees, you are the man of Indianapolis today. We all love Kyle on this Thursday, December the 10th. So let's talk about this whale. This morning, scientists believe they have discovered a new species of whale. They took this underwater video, take a look at this, showing 3 whales off the coast of Mexico. They also recorded acoustic signals from the animals. Experts say none of these observations match anything that they've seen ever before. Scientists are now using genetic sampling to confirm if it's a new species. One expert compared the discovery with looking for a mastodon, but finding a unicorn. Now that's quite a find in the 21st century. A Central Indiana woman reaches a major milestone while fighting COVID-19. Straight ahead, how her family pulled off a safe and very special surprise you'll see on this Thursday morning right here on WRTV. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Central Indiana families continue to find really creative ways and special ways to safely celebrate major milestones. So let's all join in because Roberta Nelson turned 100 years young on Wednesday. She lives in a long-term care facility in Carmel and is currently recovering from COVID. Miss Nelson is in isolation right now, but that did not stop her family, as you can see, from putting together this birthday concert outside of her window.
Normally, she's not really fond of big birthday bashes, and my brother had asked her, are you excited about turning 100? She said, no. Very emphatically, no.
But you got to celebrate anyway.
Yeah. If not for her, for us.
Well, congratulations to the entire family. And of course, we wish Miss Nelson a very, very, very happy birthday and a speedy recovery. And as an extra gift, our Kyle Mounts is going to give you another beautiful day. So when you look outside that window, right, Kyle, you're going to give her some sunshine later today. That's going to be great.
Yeah, we've got some sunshine and 50s on the way. So more great weather for outdoor celebrations today. We got our temperature at 34 degrees right now in Indy, but check out Lafayette, Bloomington. You're coming in the upper 20s. Fortunately, that wind is fairly light out there this morning, but a couple more mild days coming our way with highs in the 50s. Then it changes as we get into Sunday. Looks like things will get a little bit colder, but as we get closer to Christmas Eve, this outlook all the way through the 24th of December, looks like we'll see those temperatures climb above average once again. It is 5:57 here on your Thursday morning. Thanks so much for spending part of it with us here on Good Morning Indiana.